of these decisions are the outcomes that we're looking for. Okay, so data analytics is something that cuts across all industries, from politics to finance, to security to business, and so on and so forth. What do data analysts do? Primarily, data analysts are responsible for the pipeline of what some people are now referring to as data engineering. But generally, the idea that we have a problem that we're trying to solve, we contextualize that problem, and then we figure out the different steps involved from a data perspective to solving that problem. And typically, we start out as data analysts by defining the problem, by defining the question. What exactly are we trying to solve? What question are we trying to answer that requires us to do some data analysis, right? That's typically the first step. And once we have that very, very clearly defined, then we begin to figure out how we collect the data. And data can be collected in so many different ways. Some of us who have done research before have probably handed out questionnaires, and we send out polls and we do surveys and all of that stuff. Some organizations collect data from you through some very interesting means. Every time you click a button, every time you go to a website, they collect data, right? The idea is to collect all of that data and have a repository where that data is stored, where that data can be easily accessed. Once we have that, we then make sense of the data. We then clean it up. So data cleaning is typically the yeoman's job, where we structure the data, we put the data in databases or data warehouses or data lakes and ensure that the data can then be made sense of. Once we do that, we then try to juxtapose the questions and the problems we're trying to solve against that data. Say, for instance, in my previous example, you want to figure out what time of the day is best to open your ice cream truck, right? So you collect data on kids or on adults or maybe on the general populace in your target market, and you try to solve for that question by asking, how do I approach these people? What time do they get off work? What time do they get off school? What are their favorite fruits? And so on and so forth. Questions like this will then allow us to figure out the right time, the right flavors to make for our ice cream truck. Typically, outside of this analysis, we then need to be able to present our findings. We then need to be able to say, okay, we've asked these questions. These are the answers that we can get from the data that we've analyzed. And so typically, we do that. We present those findings or the results of our analysis via visualizations that we can always plug into applications or plug into third-party providers, and we share our findings. The findings are then taken by the decision makers to use to influence their decisions. Okay, we will buy this amount of product in anticipation that by this time of the day, 500 people will come to the ice cream truck to buy a cone of ice cream, right? That's typically the workflow that a data analyst is responsible for. Next up, we want to figure out how important this industry is in the real world, because we can hype up data analysis, but how exactly does the market respond to this? Is there demand for it? Is there supply for it? Well, the cool thing about data analysts is that they can work anywhere, literally anywhere in whatever industry. If you're a medical professional, you can be a data analyst in the medical field. If you work in a care organization, you can analyze data in that industry. If you work in finance, right, you can use data analysis to figure out people's credit worthiness, people's risk factors, and so on and so forth. So the idea is that data analysts can work literally anywhere, and they are in demand across board. A lot of the time, business owners, executives, the layman doesn't necessarily have the skills to derive insights from data. So it takes someone who spent some time acquiring those skills to ask the right questions, to know the right data to collect, and how to analyze that data to then draw insights from that. How well are they paid? Well, data analysts are pretty well paid. There's a screenshot here, and I'll be sharing a subsequent one, but this is just a screenshot taken from JobServe, and we can see that um, it's possible to become really, really well paid as a data analyst. Like I said, I'll share a more recent screenshot of this, but if you have access to this website, you can go on there and check for yourself and see that data analysts are really well compensated depending on the levels they work on and the projects they work on. So why would we encourage you to train with us to become a data analyst? The first thing is that we have experienced trainers. Our trainers are really good at breaking down the concepts and the ideas around data analysis and ensuring that you have practical skills that you can take to the market and say, hello there, I am a data analyst. I can do this and do this for you and hopefully get hired. We also have excellent certification support. If you decide to get certified in any of the data analysis levels or using any of the certifications available, we will support your journey, and our programs are well structured. We have two programs actually, which I will be speaking about shortly, but they're really, really well structured, and we try to also incorporate a layer of flexibility in there. That way, we try to solve the problems that learners might encounter from a scheduling perspective or from a skills perspective. The idea is that literally anyone can jump on this program, and at the end of the program, they should have the skills that are required as a data analyst. So what do our programs look like? Well, we have two data analytics programs. We have the foundational program, and then we have what we call the advanced program. Um, the foundation program is built around the idea that we want to take literally anyone in and equip them to have the very, very fundamentals, fundamental skills in data analysis. We want you to be able to take data, analyze it, and present your findings. That's the general idea for the foundational program. And so we'll be taking you through a series of training sessions where we'll be taking you through things like Excel, Tableau, and Power BI, and breaking down the concepts alongside teaching you how to use these tools to solve problems, right? At the advanced level, we take it as a notch higher by introducing some more advanced concepts, but also adding to your skill set. So we then go into things like structured query language, SQL, Python, Power BI at the advanced level, and also dashboarding with some third-party services. Okay, so those are the two levels that we have with our data analytics program. At the end of each level, we typically want you to be able to demonstrate your skill, the skill that you've acquired during the course of the program, for two major reasons. First, to give you confidence that you can actually do this work. You can actually do what you've been training for in the previous weeks, and also to help you build your portfolio so that you get interviewed, you can say, yes, I've done this, I've worked on this before, and so this is what I worked on, right? The idea is that we want to simulate real world data analysis work for you and ask you to actually present your findings and field questions about your findings. So you actually be asked questions and grilled about your findings. So we take a period of about 2 weeks during the course of the program where we allow you to work on a capstone project. We are available for consultation during this period. We give you data sets. We link you to data marketplaces or data warehouses or data hosts, and you take data, you work with that data, you tell a story, you solve a problem, and then you come back and you say, I'm done. And then we ask you questions. You make presentations and stuff like that. So it's very, very important that learners know that it's not just theoretical, it's fully hands-on during the program, and at the end of the program, when you work on the capstone project, you get to actually work with data and do the work that hopefully you get hired to do. Okay, so what are the sessions typically made up of? Well, like I said earlier, we typically first and foremost start with the conceptual knowledge. We try to break down the theory for you. And then we apply those concepts to problem solving, because the real value in data analysis is that you want to solve business problems, executive problems, decision problems for businesses, for politicians, for finance organizations, for what have you, right? Once we are sure that you understand the concepts and you're able to solve problems with that, we then challenge you. We then give you challenges and assessments just to ensure that you're up to standard and you're able to do what we say you should be able to do. Okay, so that's in a nutshell what the data analysis program with mainstream careers is. I will now hand over to Fred and field any questions you might have.
Yeah, Paul, as always, that was very crisp. Thank you so much for that detailed presentation. Um, can we take questions, please, on related to data analytics? And any question at all, we're very happy to take it. Now, whilst we're taking the question, I've got fantastic news. Or someone's hands up. We have been joined by someone who is currently undergoing, just at the tail end of the fundamentals of our data analytics program. So he's very kindly agreed to come along to share his story. Now, Raphael, you've got your hand up. Am I to assume you want to ask a question verbally? I can allow that. I can click allow to talk, and yep, talking permitted. Raphael, please go ahead with your question, sir.
Okay, hello, good afternoon.
Hi there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay, my name is Raphael. I'm calling from Middlesbrough. Okay, my question is relating to the some of the explanations you have given concerning the business analysis. Uh, your program, you mentioned of having two programs, the foundational and the advanced. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, the foundation, is it in conjunction with the advanced? Well, so from my own understanding, foundation is like a stepping stone, the beginning of a project. Then after the foundation, you now complete the build. That means if you are doing foundation, after your foundation, you will now move to advanced.
Okay. Do you want me to take that, Paul? I think I can take that one. Yeah, thank you,
All
Raphael.
right.
That's a very good question. I will now withdraw your yeah, right to so that presentation was actually on data analytics, not on business analysis. So slight difference there. I will talk about business analysis later on today. All right. Now, Paul spoke about two levels, the fundamentals for data analytics and the advanced. Now, the fundamentals, it's similar to what you said, is the introduction, is the beginning of it. So if maybe you're a project manager or a business analyst, but you want to understand how data analytics works, you can add that to your skill set. But if you want to become sort of a guru in analyzing data by yourself, then you need to go further into the advanced level. So, but whatever the case is, it will make sense to start from the fundamentals and then decide if you want to go further than that or not. But it is the place to start, Raphael. And once again, that was data analytics, not business analysis. We will talk about business analysis later on. It's a really good question, Raphael. Thank you so much. Paul, it's a question for you. Do you do any programming language for data analytics? Example, Python or R?
Yeah, wonderful question. So yes, we do. To be honest, a lot of the programming that you will do from a data perspective in the market right now currently is around Python. And so it would be unfair, it would be unjust not to introduce you at the very minimum to Python. So yes, we do. We actually introduce you into things like SQL, things like Python. So we work with data structures, files and modules, control structures, stuff like that. You will get taught that especially at the advanced level.
Great, thank you. Now, Annie West is asking a really good question. They say, he or she says, as a data analyst, what are the chances I get hired with the fundamentals with the hope of progressing with time? Well, the chances are there, right? They're there because at the fundamentals, you're getting into advanced Excel and the two other tools that Paul mentioned during his presentation. So you've gone ahead of an average person who is not trained in that area. You see, now if you now decide that you want to go deeper and deeper, in line with the question that Paul just answered now, then you might need to go further in. But any information, any knowledge that you gain gets you, of course, closer, gives you an added advantage to being able to secure what you want to secure. Okay, some really good questions are coming in. We will answer them via chat. But for now, whilst we're doing that, I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman called Dari, who is on the call. He's been through a few of our programs and is currently undergoing the data program. So we'd like him to share his experience, so that people who are thinking about this will be able to make an informed decision. Okay, so Dara, if you're ready, I will hand over the microphone to you, and then Paul and I will continue to answer the questions in the background. Thank you, Dara. Good to see you.
Very much, Fred. Thanks for having me on this program to come and share my experience with other prospects that might be joining MS Careers. In a nutshell, I got wind of MS Careers through a friend. So the referral came through a friend. In fact, it was my wife's manager who referred me to MS Careers, that she attended the program, and the program was really very hands-on, very practical, and quite different from arrays of others that are there, that they just advertise and they don't really give what they promise. MS Careers is not one of those that overpromise and under-delivers. I found out that myself. The very first program I had with them was the business analysis course. I did business analysis and then Agile Scrum. What really, struck me during the program was the fact that I met what I was, the testimonial I got from the person that referred me. I met it the way it were. They really provided the right support. Not only did they give the training, they were ready to unhold you all through. And then, the synopses and the modules were well structured. The instructors were really well grounded in what they do. They're really very well experienced, and they taught us in the right way that we could, assimilate what we were taught. Above that, we also had 3 months work experience. In fact, this was the meat of the whole thing. It was real life. We worked on a live project while we were going through the program, and then the project was really very hands-on. We were taught what we'll expect, in the real work environment. That was really very good. The same happened in the Agile Scrum environment as well. We were exposed to all the various tools that we would need to use, like Jira, Confluence, Miro. We really use those tools to work on the projects for the clients that were working on that. So that was really very good. And beyond that, they provided CV support, and also supports you during interviewing session. When you start getting interviews, they're there to prep you for the interview, and also even after getting the job, they provide mentorship. That was really very hands-on. So with the level of success that I achieved and the experience that I had on the business analysis program, so when MS Careers introduced the data analytics course, it became, I was really fascinated with it. And beyond that, I was fortunate enough to have gotten a job in one of the top tier banks, in fact, the number 2 bank in America, and then one of the top 10 globally. That's where I work as a regulatory business analyst. And I knew that this particular data analytics program would add value to me. It will help, it will help enhance, because I work as a regulatory business analyst where we deal with a whole lot of data. So when I saw that program, I was one of the first sets to key in. So I happened to be one of the first sets. And I'm currently going through the fundamental program. We are at the tail end of it. Exactly what the presenter presented is what you will get. They would, take you through the program, all the various modules. Somebody asked that question. The modules that we had in fundamental, we've got advanced Excel, we also did Tableau and Power BI. And beyond that, the class was done in such a way that it's made to be very interactive. You are able to practice and use it along the line. And the instructors, they were good listeners when we started. And some of us felt that, oh, they were going at a very fast pace or were not. They toned down and then switched to what suits the class. So as they're doing it, you are also practicing it on your system and you're able to do it. And above all, we also had what we call capstone project, which is similar to what we had in the business analysis program. The capstone program was a project. It was a 2-week program where we were given real live data and real live project to work on, right from data sourcing, data cleaning, transformation, and then analyzing and coming up with visualization, and then doing the presentation. This was really a very good journey, a very well-structured program that imparts the right knowledge and prepare us for the game ahead. To be candid, that experience has really equipped me because it's really helping me in what I do in my job currently, and I'm having to be a source of reference to some of my colleagues at work now, as it were. So I will be progressing steadily to the advanced stage. And if you look at it, the modules of each of the program differs. If you do the fundamentals, you are going to be exposed to your experience in Excel will be enhanced because you'll be doing an advanced Excel now, where you can run queries, do pivot table, and then be able to analyze data, large data sets, and then Tableau and Power BI. Now, if you progress onto the advanced program, there you will now be talking about SQL, and then Python, and then Power BI as well in an advanced format. So there's a progression there. So if you do the fundamental program, definitely you are well equipped to be able to go into the marketplace and grab a very good job for yourself. And then you can then advance, take it further by going into the advanced. I would pause here and take questions if there are from participants.
Yeah. It's very, very, very clearly put, Dare. Thank you so much for taking the time. So if there are 1 or 2 questions for Dare whilst he's still with us, please do ask. You can send it in as a Q&A. It's a Q&A functionality at the bottom right corner of your screen. If you can press that and type your question. If you prefer to ask via audio, please use the raise hand functionality, and I will give you the right to do so. Okay, perfect. Now, whilst that's going on, we had a question earlier which we may have answered, but I'll just pick on it again. Someone asked about the duration of these data programs and the costs of them. Now, the advanced level starts on the next Monday, actually. So that would be the 7th of October, because today is 5th, so just 2 more days, it will be the 7th, 7 October. And someone just asked, what is the cost of it? So the cost of that is £900, excluding UK VAT. Now, but towards the end of this program, we will be announcing some discounts as a thank you for attending. So we'll give you discount codes. So please hang in there. We won't be much longer. Hang in there. We'll tell you the codes to use to reduce some of these fees. Some of them be reduced by 20%, some by 10%, and so on and so forth. So, but if you do want to go into start with the fundamentals, that will take 8 weeks to complete, and that costs a bit less, £800 before the discount. So we'll announce a discount code towards the end of this program. So please hang in there. Right, Dare, thank you so much. You were so clear that there are no questions for you.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent communicator. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Tada.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. I think that was a fantastic start. What we're going to do now is, it's a good question from Shalom. How do you decide if the fundamentals or advanced course is the right one to choose? I am already experienced with Excel and have general experience of cleansing data, etc. Do I skip to advanced? Paul, I'm going to throw that over the fence to you. That's That's a
Yeah,
poor question.
yeah, so that's a good question. If you think that all the stuff we will be taking learners through at the foundational level, you're already quite skilled with that, then why not? We will accept you into the advanced level. My beg your pardon. So yes, it is possible to jump straight into the advanced level if you believe you already have all of the skills that we'll be training for at the foundational level.
Absolutely. Straight away, we're going to get into cybersecurity now. So, Gordon and Rachel, if you please get ready. But there's a question from Big
Sorry,
H.
Fred. I just want to
Oh,
add something to what the instructor said.
yeah.
Just for clarity, the fundamental class goes beyond just Excel. So the guy that asked that question said he's very vast in Excel and he's considering whether he should go into to the advanced. The modules for the fundamentals goes beyond just Excel. It's not just it's advanced Excel and then Tableau and Power BI. So the guy needs to confirm if he's also very sound in Tableau and Power BI because that is where the fundamentals of those two modules would be done before progressing into Excel. I mean, into the advanced stage, just to clarify that.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a very good point, Dara. Thank you. Just so one doesn't miss out. Yeah. So please bear what Dara just added in mind. It's not just about Excel, but advanced Excel and the two other systems that he mentioned. He mentioned Power BI and he mentioned Tableau. All of those are covered at the fundamental level. Big H is asking about, so for both foundation and advanced is 800 and 900. Is there no discount for taking both? There is. So when people sign up for both at the same time, there's significant amount of discount. And I think that's what Dara did to when he signed up to his to yeah, starting the foundation and then making commitment that yeah, you go as far as advanced. Of course, you get additional discount for that. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay, please keep the questions coming. But whilst they are coming, I'm going to hand over to the cybersecurity team to walk us through the fundamentals. Let me stop using that word fundamentals to walk us through cybersecurity. And very interestingly, they will be doing a demo for us towards the end of their presentation. I personally am looking forward to that, and I guess you might be as well. So, Gordon, Rachel, the floor is yours. Thank you. If if either of
All
you,
right, thank
there
you.
you go. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
okay. Let me know if my screen is visible. So good
Yeah.
afternoon, everyone, and you're welcome to the informational session on cybersecurity. And then we are happy to have all of you looking forward to um, guiding you guys towards the cybersecurity journey and then the entire roadmap to launching probably your first career in cybersecurity as well. To start with, I would say, who am I? Probably most of you have seen this. I don't know if you have whatever your background is, you might have seen this. If you are familiar with the Linux environment, whenever you put in who am I on your Linux environment or terminal, it gets to tell you who the host is. So who am I? My name is Gordon. I've been working as a CISO for about 4 to 5 years now. Started off from a very basic cybersecurity path with vast experience in network security, web application security, and a whole lot more that I'm going to give you towards your preparation via the training that you take with us. So at this moment, I'll let my co-instructor, Rachel, introduce herself. Rachel, over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel, and I'm a cybersecurity instructor for LinkedIn. I've been in cyberspace for quite some time now. I'm happy to meet you guys. Thank you.
Great. So we'll first move on to the evolution of cybersecurity. You know, we can't talk about cybersecurity without saying, why did it come up? Where did it come up? Where did it come from? And those kind of stuff, right? So looking at the exponential growth of technology and connectivity, there's always the need for robust cybersecurity measures. And it is very, very important, and it has come onto a high demand. Looking at every industry that you find yourself, from the healthcare, from the financial, from the core technical or technology industry, cybersecurity has become prominent, and then it is becoming a very, very important role as part of every operations that you might have when you talk about businesses, right? So the demand rising from this has significantly impacted the job market, shaping the roles, skill sets, and opportunities in cybersecurity. So when you look at the skills metrics from the statistics of job roles or job requirement that was in the past from 2020 upwards up to 2024, we have a significant shoot in this space. And then I believe that if you are here and then you are looking or you're aiming towards the cybersecurity training program, then I would say you are at the right place and at the right time, right? So specialization in emerging technologies as the cyber threat landscape continues to evolve, we have specialized skills that has become valuable. In the course of this presentation, we'll look at some of the roles and then the corresponding trainings that will be given that would be valuable from you. So from threat hunting to information security, IoT, and all of those things, we'll talk about it. Now, we can't talk about all these roles without introducing what cybersecurity is to you, right? So from my point of view, as a general specialist or a professional within this field, I understand cybersecurity to be a practice of protecting computer systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, or disruption. Now, you would understand in the course of the training, or if you ever read about cybersecurity, we have core three tenets. Now, these we always talk about, you might hear from people, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and those kind of stuff. Now, these serves as the very foundation of cybersecurity, which you would learn of within the training, that when you're a security professional, it is your core mandate to ensure that systems are available for everyone to use as and when. Data that sit within these systems are actually what they are without any suffering from any unauthorized modifications. That's what we're talking about, integrity. And now confidentiality. Systems or data that exist on systems are actually available on request to those that are supposed to have access to. We'll look at all of these, but you understand that from these three tenets is where cybersecurity rises from. Let's talk about the healthcare. The healthcare have what we call the public health information, the PHI. We have PII, personal identifiable information. And then all these information are something that these three tenets that I mentioned, from confidentiality, integrity, and availability, comprises or relates to, right? So in the healthcare industry, we don't want my personal health information out there. Rachel shouldn't get hands to it when Rachel wants to find something, goes onto the internet and put in blah, 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 and then it pops up, right? We want it to be available to only me. It's the same as in the banking industry. You hear about many cyber attack or scam or fraud schemes that kind of are on the rise and then exist in the banking fields. Now you ask yourself, what is happening? Now is the time for you to, if you are that kind of inquisitive, the person that wants to put a foot down and say, okay, I want to protect this kind of systems. I want to make sure that informations are not on the leak and all of that, to prevent people from scams and all of that. So all of these are part of what you would know. Sorry, I'm just multitasking with the questions. All right. So all of these we take into consideration, and this also gives you the idea that cybersecurity is not only relevant in, let's say, the tech space, but it's relevant in every aspect of business that you find yourself. You might be in the industry where you do just entertainment, you have profiles of entertainment, personnel, and all of those things. So cybersecurity actually comes here. So it's a broad field that encompasses a wide range of technologies and techniques to safeguard sensitive information and systems from cyber threats, right? So this information, or this is a statistics, right? And this statistics talk about the size of cybersecurity workforce worldwide in 2023 by now. And these statistics are in the thousands, no? So the data people, Paul and the rest, I believe you understand this data, and then it's quite interesting. Now, if you find yourself in the US, you realize that the US has about 1,338.51 on the average statistics for the size of cybersecurity workforce worldwide. Now, when you come to the UK, which is now becoming an increasing field of target for organizations or businesses inside the UK. Now, if you go on JobServe, if you go on all these job portals and you just put in cybersecurity or information security, you see a ton of them. And the challenge is that the relevant skills that individuals need to foot in this kind of roles is what is on the shortage. So even though these people are on the short, they are on the short because the relevant skills and knowledge that they require are not being easily assessed, right? So if you find yourself, Paul has already mentioned about why you should train with us. So I think the first part that you should train with us within this track is that you get to interact or have training from the expert. I've had a lot of experience in the industry, including trainings as well. So I get to point you through the right direction, where you need to go, which path you need to take. If you want to become a pen tester, I know where you want to get to. If you want to be a security consultant working on security regulatory standards, I know where you want to start from and all of that. So looking at the statistics, we realize that there is a need for this in all these locations from Europe, the Americas, etc., right? So we'll come back to that. Now, let me talk a little about probably Rachel, you can start with the foundational level, and then I can come in. Yeah. Rachel, are you with me?
I'm here.
Great. So you can probably start with the foundational level, what the expectation should be, and then I continue from here.
Okay, so for the foundational level, mainly this foundational level is there for people with some transferable skills. For instance, some people are coming from, for instance, project managers. There are some skills that you can transfer them to cybersecurity. And if you are coming from maybe a field that is not any tech related, so far as you have some skills, we believe that you possess some transferable skills that is needed in cybersecurity. So at the foundational level, we are helping people who want to probably transition into cybersecurity or want to come into cybersecurity and then they would like to have some experience with cybersecurity, their hands-on training. We have some labs that you'll be doing during the foundational level. Can you move to some of the slide, the next slide?
All right, Rachel. So let me add to this. So this training at the foundational level seeks to equip you with the core security skills necessary to safeguard network, detect threats, secure data. So at the foundational level, you'll be learning from a broad spectrum of path that you can like target once you get yourself out from the foundational level. Within the foundational level, so on the screen, we say you talk about assess security posture of an enterprise environment. So if you want to go, let's say the GRC part where you want to be a security consultant that looks at how we enforce policies, how we look at the technical objectives, administrative objectives, or organizational objectives relating to security controls. So with security controls, we have administrative controls, we have the organizational controls, we have the technical controls. So if you want to be that guy who don't want to come in and say, let's test this application to see if there are vulnerabilities to, exploit and all of that, then you can also find yourself right here in the foundational level. We have monitor and secure hybrid environments. And this is the guy who comes and sits within a SOC and understands all the very basics of security. And when you see a threat, you're able to flag it and all of that. You can also sit here. Operate with awareness of applicable regulations and policy. That's also the security guy, the GRC guy. Identify and analyze and respond to security events. So right from the foundational track, you can go further into this path. Rachel will talk a little about it, and then I'll shower with you with blessings of details. Rachel.
Okay, so here we have the two levels of the training. We have the pen testing and the security analyst part. The security analyst part is basically the foundational level that he has been saying about, he has been talking about. And then the pen testing part is mostly the intermediate level. So the foundational level, like he said, those who would like to go into assessing risks, knowing more about the network, you have to learn skills like the local area networks. You have to have skills about let's say a little bit about incident response. You want to know how these tools are working. Then the cybersecurity analyst part is for you. The intermediate level is where you have the pen testing. For instance, some people, after they are done with the cybersecurity part, they would have interest in the pen testing part. These people go into details about what happens within the network, how people are able to manipulate the network to get their own data or information. You understand better when you come to the lab or the demo we'll be doing. But we can see from the report here that the pen testing level is where you perform vulnerability assessment and basically finding faults or weaknesses that are found in our networks or in our systems. I'll hand over to my colleagues again.
All right, thank you, Rachel. So over here, with these two paths, you remember I was talking about the GRC guy, and later on, we're talking about the guy that comes to sit in a SOC or sits behind SIEM environment, security incident events and monitoring environments, and look at what kind of threats are evolving from our clients, our customers, even within an organization and those kind of stuff. That we are looking at the cybersecurity analyst part, right? And now on the pen testing part is the guy that comes and say, okay, we have a scope, then we are inviting you to come and conduct a pen test on our environment. The scope consists of all our networks, our internal networks, those that are in the cloud, applications that sit in the cloud, our business information systems, and those kind of stuff. And this is the pen testing guy who says, okay, I accept it. I am the red team guy. I have all the tools to perform my reconnaissance, prepare my weaponization, my payloads, conduct my exploits, and later tell you that, I conducted this vulnerability assessment, and these are where the vulnerabilities are in your systems. You need to patch this and do all those kind of stuff. And this guy is the one that comes to sit in front of the screens and detect and analyze IOCs, indicators of compromise, understands the threat and threat intelligence concept, perform vulnerability scanning as part of his or her job. So probably there's a flag on this system. I need to check, right? You need to always make sure that the indicators of compromise are not false positive, but they are something that actually exists, right? And then perform incident response and write a report as part of all that you do. So Rachel did mention that the training is for people with little or preferably little knowledge in IT would really be helpful. You understand how to use a browser, what a browser is, what a computer is all about. You have little understanding of what applications is and all those kind of stuff, right? Entry-level IT professionals, people that are already in the IT field doing some IT support roles, some basic IT entry-level roles, yeah. Project managers that will find themselves in security environments, those that want to manage even security teams or IT teams, it is very, very important to have this kind of training for yourself, and people from multidisciplinary backgrounds. So our our first week would come with a crash course on probably the entry level IT knowledge or skills that you need to have. So we do accept people from any multidisciplinary background. Now, this is what the foundational path look like. You talk about attacks, threats, and vulnerabilities. We look at architecture design from networks, application. We look at the implementations. We will also look at operations and incident response. And then we talk about the last part that those that don't want to be in the technical field in cybersecurity or information security find themselves at. So over here, we look at governance, risk, and compliance. We look at how organizations needs to conform with security policies, the security controls that they mentioned. You conduct risk assessment to know the kind of risk that exists. So when you talk about information security or cybersecurity within an organization, we also look at the core tenet, which is the people, processes, and technology. So from the people aspect, what are some of the risks that exist? From the process aspects, what are some of the gaps that exist that poses a risk? And then from the technology aspect, what are the core risks that can be derived from the technologies that we use, from the network and those kind of stuff? And then under all of these three tenets, sometimes we talk about environments. Our environments, that's where we have things like business continuities, what happen when there's a disaster, what happen when there's an outage, and those kind of stuff. So this is where this guy finds himself. This guy would make sure all of these things are in place and lead or join the team that works towards certifying the organization for standards like the ISO 27001, SOC 2, and those kind of stuff, right? So this is the main guy over there. Now, in the as part of the intermediate part, where you can divert into this cybersecurity analyst path, and then the intermediate part on the pen testing. So inside the pen testing, this is where we look. It details how you can plan and scope an engagement, how you can perform information gathering and vulnerability scanning, how you can perform attacks and exploits, reporting and communication, and all of that. And this is all geared towards a certification that you might take once you're able to once you finish with the training and then you want to move on to the certification part. We guide you towards the CompTIA pen test, and then at the foundational level, we guide you towards the CompTIA Security Plus, which comes with tons of jobs for you once you have these credentials to your belt, right? So as a pen tester, you might say, or if you come through the foundational level when you fall within this category, you can go into the GRC part where I describe the roles that you would be playing, or you can go to the pen testing part where you become a pen tester, applying appropriate tools for pen testing, performing social engineering. I believe most of you have heard of what social engineering is. So social engineering is a technique used by hackers to get into the head or find their victims, every little detail about them. It can come within the form as phishing and all those kind of stuff, right? Towards the end of this presentation, we have about 9 minutes, so I'll wrap up and then probably give you one demo on how phishing as part of social engineering works. Then you would also be keeping up to date with latest hacking methods, collecting data and deploying, looking at the methodology for pen testing and all of that. So these are some of the careers that you might find yourself in when you find yourself doing the foundational level. You can go into an organization or join a company as a security administrator. You can also join as a network security administrator. You can join as a junior cybersecurity consultant. You can also join as a junior information security consultant. Now, let me explain the difference. People would be saying, okay, why is there a junior cybersecurity consultant and why is there a junior information security consultant? The first one, you would be a bit more technical in terms of looking at security of applications, networks, and all of that. The second one, which is information security, is geared towards protecting information, looking at the GRC part where you need to make sure that policies are in place that would ensure the security of the informational assets. So when we talk about information assets or informational assets are what helps the organization to keep running in terms of their systems or their data or information, how they store it, how they retrieve it, what kind of applications that exist that helps them to do their work that stores information. So those are classified as informational assets. So a junior cybersecurity consultant, if you want to go the hard way, a junior information security consultant, if you want to be the GRC guy who knows their stuff in terms of policies, the controls, and all of that. And then a junior security engineer, the guy who wants to say, I'm going to specialize in looking at malwares, forensics, those kind of stuff. And then IT security, basically, you'll be doing everything from ensuring that endpoint devices, when I talk about endpoint devices, I'm referring to laptops, mobile devices, and those kind of things are secured on the network infrastructure. The network is secured and those kind of stuff. And information assurance would also most likely work like how the junior information security analyst works. And then when you move to the intermediate level, we're looking at the vulnerability tester, someone who wants to test vulnerabilities, assess vulnerabilities. The security analyst will take all this information, the report, tell management that this is it, look at the threats that exist. The vulnerability assessment analyst is more like the tester, but the tester goes more away from assessing and testing, right? And then the network security operations is the guy who wants to make sure that the network infrastructure is secured. Application security specialist, you look at because at the pen test level, you know how to break into applications. So anybody who can break into your house through your door knows how you should have made the door safer to prevent him or her from entering, right? And then the security operations analyst is the person who comes to sit in front of those large screens with the security incidents, incident and event monitoring tools and all of that, and look at the threats or the issues that is coming from the services that they are plugged in. A cybersecurity specialist is more of a general role. You understand basically from everything from the GRC to the technical bit, threat intelligence, and a core security engineer, as I explained on the other hand. So this is more like from the entry role of information security analyst. So you could see that from JobServe, you could have up to a salary from 60K to 65K pounds per annum, including bonus and some kind of benefits that may exist for you. So if there are questions, probably would take the questions, or we move on to the demo part. Probably I can do one demo looking at the time constraints. I have about 6 minutes. Forgive me, Fred, for making it a bit lengthy, So let me just pull up my lab environment and share it to everyone. All right, so let's do this. Is my screen visible? Yes, it is. Great. So let me close this. So I was building a malware this morning. So let me clean this up. Not part of the scope here. So you realize that from the beginning of the presentation, I did speak about stuff like you saw the agent Tesla. So what agent Tesla was used for, give me a sec, let me pull that up for you guys. Yep. All right. Do you see the presentation, by the way? Great. So I didn't talk much about all of these things, right? So if over here, WannaCry is a ransomware. Probably most of you heard of WannaCry, and WannaCry is a ransomware that what became more popular. What WannaCry did was that it encrypted all the files of the targets that fell prey to the WannaCry kind of ransomware attack, and then requested them to pay money. Equifax breach was the breach that happened as a result from security misconfiguration or just being, I would say, unwilling to follow security processes. Stuckness is a virus that occurred. So I spoke about the various industries, and then this is on the operational technology industry, right? It's attacked critical infrastructure. So from it can affect electricity and all of that. Agent Tesla was used as a leverage through social engineering from what we call phishing. So let me just talk about phishing. I'm going to use a tool that is called Zfisher, right? So we'll talk about some of these environments, what these things that I'm entering means to you. You might not understand right now, probably if you're not within this. So sorry. All right. Sudo. And this happens, right? Give me a sec. I need to go into Zfisher. So CD. Zfisher. So CD is more like entering a directory, right? So in here, and then all the files that you see in green are files that can be executed. They are shell scripted files that can be executed. So I'm going to execute this, and then I'm going to say push Zfisher. So boom, we have it running, right? So let's simulate what's so let's say our target, which is my colleague Rachel, uses a Gmail account, and then I want to and he works for MSC Carriers, and then I want to say, okay, I want to find out on some of the information or the document that these guys have, how they store their trainings and all of that. And probably Rachel has a Google Drive, which is tied to her organizational email account, right? So as part of the social engineering attack, I went on LinkedIn, I searched Rachel, I went on Facebook, I looked at Rachel, I did some kind of information gathering on Rachel, and then I got to say, okay, let's see if Rachel's email is this, right? So
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear Gordon anymore. And it's
Yeah, I think he's experiencing technical difficulties.
okay.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Hey, good.
Yes, sorry about that. All right, so
Sorry, Fifi, we can't see your screen.
is my screen up?
Yes, it is.
All right. So now I say, okay, let me just go on localhost and then say, do you need a custom port? I say no. So now this probably, I wouldn't send this as it is, to Rachel. Probably I'll send Rachel an email, some sweet email trying to lure Rachel, and then I can put in a link, right? Now, inside the link that I'll put, I'll embed this behind it. So this link would actually be, I can obfuscate it to something like click here, when you click here, this happens and those kind of stuff. So that is what it is going to probably look like for Rachel. So just a sec. All right. So I'll paste this link here for Rachel, right? Now I do enter to serve this. This happens as part of demos, don't mind. Is my screen visible? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Awesome.
So just a sec. Okay, it's already found the target. So it means it's running somewhere. Let's go here. Guys, as trying to bring this up, probably we can go through the question and answers, Fred. It's loading.
All right. So I think there's only one question in the question and answer section. It comes from Shalom. Shalom says, between the cybersecurity and the data analysis space, where do you think there's the highest demand for work? Would you say there's a greater demand in cybersecurity at the moment? Fifi, do you want to answer that? I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
Data analytics has more demand.
Why don't you let me step into that one? Because Gordon is going to speak from a cyber perspective and Paul will speak from a data perspective. So Shalom,
Yeah.
here's the deal, right? Anything data right now, and apologies about my network, it was a bit poor earlier. Anything about data is a big seller these days. Whether you're analyzing it, it's a huge seller. Whether you are securing it, it's a huge seller. Whether you're storing it in the cloud and supporting organizations to achieve that, it is a huge seller. Now, what I say to our learners when they contact me on a one-to-one basis and ask such questions is this: I say to them, when you're applying for jobs, what do you see that employers are asking for? What do they want? Are they asking you for data analytical skills? Then that's what you need. Are they asking you for cybersecurity skills? Then that's what you need. Are they asking you for cloud skills? That's what you need. Because end of the day, I'm sure you want to use the skills you're gaining to either gain employment or to scale in whatever employment you currently have. You see, I'm sorry, Shalom, that I did not say it's this or that, but because they're both in demand, right? But for you, for your target, right, which one will help more? You will find that when you start looking at the job boards, right?
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah.
Correct. So I think it's more of the path that you want to go into. So we'll come back to that. So now, assuming I sent a link through an email, Rachel clicked on it and says, my email is Rachel. Sorry, Rachel, forgive me if I spelled it wrong. Rachel@gmail.com. And then my password is don't try this. Right? So Rachel now wants to sign in into the supposed Gmail, thinking that the boss sent her an email and then she needs to do something, And this has actually happened severally in most of the exploits that has occurred. If you look at security breaches like the Sing Health from Singapore and all of that, all of those things comes from some of these common tactics from social engineering, right? So now Rachel did enter the credentials from her home or wherever she sits, and then realized that I can see that Rachel entered Rachel at Gmail, and then the password is don't try this. So these are some of the things that you would be learning as part of your security from the foundational training that we have. We talk about things from every aspect that you would help you like gain some diverse skills if you want to go into the pen testing or the other part, right? So you look at threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. You look at phishing, smishing, spam, dumpster diving, pretending, identity fraud, and all those kind of stuff, right? And we'll also look at malware, what is this, ransomware, trojans, worms, potentially unwanted programs, fileless viruses, and all those kind of stuff. And we look at some of the password attacks like spraying, dictionary, brute force, both online and offline. We look at rainbow table. We look at physical attacks like malicious universal serial bus with cable, malicious flash drive, and all of that. So I think if they allow me to speak, I'm going to speak for more than more I can see that it's already 1:31
Yeah.
p.m. So I'd hand over to Fred, and if there are more questions, we can take it from there.
Yeah, Gordon, Rachel, thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. So please, ladies and gentlemen on the call, please send your questions in using the Q&A functionality at the bottom right corner of your screen. Or if you prefer to ask verbally, please put your hand up. And I do remember, Oscar, you asked a question earlier, which I deferred, very similar to Shalom's question. I think you said as a BA, is it better to pursue data analytics course or cyber? I think the response we give to Shalom may be similar to yours as well. You know, it depends what you want to achieve. But I can say that data is in very high demand. Any skills around data is in high demand. I have a very colorful slide which I will put up on the screen whilst we await your questions. Now, the people that you are listening to, because we're not done, we've just got about 2 or 3 more areas to talk about before we finish. The people that you just heard, that you're hearing from, are practicing experts, right? So these are not like university lecturers or anything. Now, these are practicing experts who this is their day job. So what that means is that the learnings that we bring to you in classroom are based on experience, are based on what employers would want you to do, you know, and that's what you want to learn to be able to get a job. You know, as I'm sure you're aware, here at Mainstream Careers, we are focused on not just training you, but our vision is to get you into employment. Whether you've got background in tech or not, our vision is to help you into employment. And to achieve that, we provide you practical trainings, you know, access to labs, where you can get your hands dirty before you then gain the confidence to start applying with the employers. Comes with things like CV support, interview preparation, and bits of mentorship to help you through, you know. Courses like this one will lead you to a certification as well. But our main focus is that experience, that hands-on experience that you are gaining. You see, the foundations for this one, the duration for this is 10 weeks. All right, 10 weeks. In case someone is wondering how long it takes 10 weeks to complete the foundation for this. And intermediate takes a bit longer, 16 weeks. From their presentation, you'd see that there's quite a bit to get through. We don't want it rushed. We want it spaced out because you've got full-time jobs, right? This is not full-time training. You've got full-time jobs, you've got family, you've got socials. So we want to spread it out nicely. There's a question here from Simo. Simo says, good afternoon. What do you say to someone who has zero background knowledge in all the fields that are discussed here? Thanks. Right, that is a good question. That is a good question. Now, the programs, the way we design our programs, we put them into levels. So there's the foundational or fundamentals, then there's intermediate and there's advanced for all of them. Now, with no background, then you're welcome to join the foundation level, the fundamentals, and then build from there. The first thing you may have to do is to work out which one is of interest, to yourself, and then build your career in that line, So everyone's welcome with or without any prior experience in that field. And lots of these tech courses or tech career are not overly keen on academic qualification anyway, either. They're more interested in, hey, what can you do? What skill sets do you have? To help us achieve our objectives as an organization. You see, so that was a good question. Thank you for asking. And Abby's asking, Gordon and Rachel, it's a question for you specifically. How much of Kali Linux training do we get in this course? Because I see that you use Kali Linux on your demo. Over to you, Rachel. Gordon.
With some of your labs, you have to do with Kali Linux, but there are some operating systems I think you'd explore. For some intermediate, I think you have to do with the Parrot, also the Ubuntu and stuff. But for the Kali Linux, you use it for some of the labs during the foundational program. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To add to that, so almost all simulations that would happen within that environment. So we'll take our time and then walk you through these environments to make sure you are familiarized with it, right? So we don't expect you to basically know all these commands off head before coming to the training. So we take you need to understand, basically bring yourself to speed to understand all that we would do within the labs, because all the courses covers hands-on labs and projects. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent. Okay, I mean, your question is very well timed because we're going into cloud computing straight away now. So he just asked if we're covering cloud computing, and he asked that question just at the right time. Now, thank you for staying with us. So we're just going to get into cybersecurity briefly now, and then I touch on project management, before we close. Now, what I would do is just in case someone will have to leave before the end, I will open the pool so that you can just answer the questions before you leave. But if you're staying on, then you don't answer it yet until you've heard from all the areas that we want to talk about today. Okay, someone says, Paul, this might be your question. Someone says they are slow in typing and it presents them with a little bit of phobia to tech fields. But yeah, how do you answer that? I can't hear you. I can see your lips move, but can't hear a word. No, not yet. Right, maybe I can answer that.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Yes, please, sir. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So I was saying that I am not the best typer myself. I'm not the fastest typer myself. So it's a great question to ask. To be honest, it depends on exactly what you're doing at what level you're doing it. If you're a software engineer, for instance, and you need to write thousands of lines of code, obviously your typing has to be better than someone who is just typing commands and executing scripts, right? But generally, just like everything in life, typing is a skill that you can acquire over time. And so it shouldn't hold you back from exploring opportunities. You could learn cybersecurity side by side, improving your typing skills. So it shouldn't be a barrier to entry for you. That's going to be my answer to you.
Yeah, spot on. Thank you for that. Yeah, and I echo that, right? There are tools online that are 100% free that you can use to practice your typing and improve on it. Nobody was born typing. Everyone who you think types fast had to learn it. So go ahead and learn it. Okay, one or two more. Then we've covered data analysis, but it was recorded and it will be shared. How does someone who has little to no background in cybersecurity transition or get a job in cybersecurity or in GRC, for example? I think this is the starting point. It's a really good question, Omotayo, and thank you for sending that in. This is the starting point: getting trained and networking with people who have been on that journey and are in. They've already arrived, as it were, where you intend to get to. I think that's a great starting point. Now, with that relationship, you find that you then receive guidance on what sort of certification you need to obtain. What lab experience do you need to gain? How do I structure my CV? How do I interview? What do I expect on the job? I think this, what Gordon and Rachel has described to us today, is a really good way to start that journey. Omotaya. Gordon, do you want to add to that at all? Or Rachel?
Yeah, I think getting into the training, getting certified towards a credential actually helps, right?
Yeah,
Because what I see mostly very common in the cyberspace is uh we don't really hire based on only what you know, but we want to also see what kind of training or certification that you had, right? So that's actually goes to say, okay, they've learned something and then they understand what it is. Yeah.
yeah,
So I think the
yeah. Okay, we may have lost you there, but yeah, I think we got the gist of it. Yeah. Okay. We will get into cloud computing now, but I'm just going to launch the pool. Just in case there's one or two people that need to leave, just fill out the pool before you leave. The poll. But if you're able to stay on, please do stay on. We just got just a couple more areas to look at. But the poll is just going to ask a few questions to understand where your interest lies. Right, Paul. Um. If I give you 5 minutes, can you do a lot with that?
Yeah, I should be able to.
Thank you.
All right, so can we see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so cloud engineering with AWS, that's what we're talking about now. Um, why cloud engineering? What is cloud engineering? For some of us, we've heard about it, we're interested in it, but we're not particularly sure what it is. And how does it relate to things like data analytics, things like cybersecurity that you've heard about? Well, the cool thing about it is thankfully, Fred did a really nice introduction earlier where he spoke about data being at the center of most of the things that we do now with tech, right? People need to be able to collect data, analyze that data, draw insights from that data. They also need to store that data, right? There are going to be systems that will process that data for you. If you say you want to clean data, you can't go line by line making changes. Sometimes you just type a command and you execute that command. There needs to be some computational resource that then takes those commands that you've executed and applies them against the data. That's where cloud engineering comes in. The idea behind cloud engineering is that businesses, such as the ones you can see on the screen, do not necessarily have to have or own um, infrastructure, computing resource for processing data, for storing data, for serving applications. They don't necessarily have to own them themselves. They can use the resources that are owned and managed by third parties, right? What does this mean? So say for instance, you want to do a phishing attack like Gordon um, demonstrated for us a few minutes ago, and you want that to be live. You actually want to do that online. You would need to put your phishing infrastructure on some server somewhere on the internet, so that when people click the link, they get directed there, and then you can get their information and do whatever it is you want to do. There are businesses that can provide infrastructure for that. Obviously, that's not what the business is set out to provide infrastructure for, But the idea is that you can always use someone else's equipment, someone else's infrastructure to host your applications, to store your data, to serve resources to people who need to access those resources. You have some files that you want to share with people, you put that on Dropbox. Those files actually go into a server somewhere that stores those files and grants other people access to those files. Or you use Google Drive or WeTransfer, or you use iCloud to back up your pictures, or whatever the case may be. All of these things are being fronted by infrastructure that you do not see, that you do not touch, but that someone is managing somewhere. Right. And this is what businesses do all the time, from Uber to Sunny. They use infrastructure typically hosted by someone else and put their applications, their services, their data on this infrastructure so that their customers or their users can access the services and this resources. And that's where cloud engineering is. The idea behind cloud engineering is that your businesses can store and process large amounts of data using infrastructure that they do not necessarily need to own. And there are going to be experts, there are going to be people who are skilled at setting up these systems for you, right? And generally, we refer to these experts as cloud engineers, right? Under the large umbrella of cloud engineering, there are going to be niches like DevOps engineer, DevSecOps engineer, and so on and so forth. But generally, that's the idea of cloud engineering. All right. So cloud computing is, like I said, the on-demand delivery of IT resources by third-party vendors using a pay-as-you-go pricing. You only pay for what you use. You don't If you don't need an entire server, if you just need a little bit of the resources that a server has, you can pay for that. If you just need to store 10 gigs of data, you can pay for only 10 gigs of data instead of buying a drive that is probably a terabyte. You just pay for 10 gigs of data and that's fine, right? So we can already begin to intuit the advantages of going with cloud computing. You have on-demand self-service, you have resource pooling, you have a measured service, you have access over the internet, right? Cloud computing services are generally accessible over the internet. You don't need any special deployments or special infrastructure to access cloud computing services, and they're scalable, they're rapidly elastic. If you want 10 gigs of storage today and tomorrow you want 1 terabyte, it can be given to you in an instant. You don't need to wait months for a manufacturer to ship something to you or for some guy to set up something for you. Cloud computing makes it possible to spin up infrastructure in a matter of minutes, in some cases, even seconds. If you want a server right now, it takes less than 5 minutes to get a server, which is a lot more advantageous as compared to what we usually used to do in the traditional computing model, where if you wanted to set up a server, you would have to browse a catalog of different servers, determine which one meets your particular requirements, then place an order with the equipment manufacturer, pay them, they would then send it to you. You would then set it up, network it, ensure that it was secure, and so on and so forth, right? So cloud computing is a very, very advantageous service for businesses, for individuals, for organizations. All you have to do is pay for what you want to use, and that is made available to you instantaneously. Right. Some of the use cases people use cloud computing for are things like storage. We speak about this specifically because data is very important. At the center of all that we're talking about today is data. People want to store their data. They want to modify it. They want to draw insights from it. They want to secure it. But it needs to be kept in a place first and foremost. It needs to exist and be kept in a place. And this is where cloud computing serves the purpose 100%. If you want to back up your data, you want to do disaster recovery, you want to test applications or develop applications or even serve those applications using a server model or a serverless model, whatever the case may be, these are all use cases for cloud computing. Why are we speaking about cloud computing? The reason we are is because, like we said, so many businesses are transitioning into the cloud. They don't want to own their own data centers. They don't want to own infrastructure. They just want to use a third party's infrastructure. And one of the most popular third parties that provides this kind of service is called AWS, or Amazon Web Services. They are in competition with businesses like Google Cloud Platform and Microsoft Azure, but increasingly we are seeing AWS take an increasing market share of the cloud computing market. Technically, right now, about 75% of the storage for applications deployed on the internet is powered by one service in AWS, just one. It's called S3, right? So it gives you the scope to which AWS has cornered the market, so to speak. They have about 35 to 45% of the market share with regards to cloud computing worldwide. I know that in Europe, they are making deep investments and trying to make progress in places like Germany and the UK. And so increasingly, we are seeing people coming to us saying, I need to be able to work with AWS technologies. How do I get upskilled with that? And that's where this training program comes in, because we have two levels with cloud computing, cloud engineering training at MSc Careers. We have the foundational level, and then we have the associate level, what some people refer to as the intermediate level. At the foundational level, we do what we refer to as the certified cloud practitioner. The cloud practitioner is geared towards giving you a very solid foundation with cloud computing in general, but also with specific AWS services. So the idea is we want to take anybody, literally anybody, a medical doctor, a lawyer, whatever you are, and give you a very solid foundation in computing and cloud computing. How do computers work? How do networks work? How do they work together to serve applications? How is it possible that I can pick up my phone and text someone from my mobile phone and the message gets delivered to another person halfway across the world? These are some of the concepts that we talk about. How do I store my data? How do I retrieve my data? How do I deploy applications? And how do AWS services allow me to do these things or build out infrastructure that I can use to do these things, right? So a very, very solid foundation in cloud computing and in AWS services. This is the idea behind the practitioner level. You get a very wide and deep foundation with cloud computing and cloud computing technologies with AWS. Then we move on to the associate level or the intermediate level, where you go a little bit deeper, right? You get a lot more hands-on skills. With some of these technologies, you expand your skill set from the perspective of cost effectiveness, security, reliability, high availability, scalability. We explore these concepts with regards to AWS services, but cloud computing in general. How can I ensure that if an application is up, it never goes down? How can I ensure that if data is stored in the cloud, it's never lost? How do I ensure that if someone is in Mumbai, India, they can access my application at the same speed that someone sitting in London, the UK, can access my application? All of these are concepts that we talk about in a lot more detail at the solutions architect level, because it is your responsibility at this level to be able to put together different technologies to ensure that your business, your organization, your client has a solution that solves their business problems and provides their application, their data, their resources to their users at any time of the day, whenever their users need to access them. All right. So these are the two levels of the training program in cloud computing with AWS that we have, right? And why would you want to consider this? Well, like I said, you can come from any background, literally any background, and pick up cloud computing skills. But typically, a lot of people say if you pick up cloud computing skills, doesn't that mean that you have to be technical? Not necessarily. You can be non-technical in cloud computing, like in cloud engineering. You can be the guy who combines their legal knowledge and their cloud computing knowledge to ensure that your business or your organization or your client is doing the proper thing at every point in time, right? Or you could be the guy who actually then deploys the infrastructure, right? You could learn some infrastructure as code, you could learn some scripting, you could learn one or two other things and add that to your toolkit to ensure that you serve whatever niches that your organization has. I don't have a lot of time to detail all the possible career paths that you can have with cloud computing, but generally the idea is that the opportunities abound. You don't necessarily have to be a super technical person. You don't have to be a software engineer. You don't have to be someone who knows how to use Linux, for instance. You can come from wherever you are and pick up cloud computing skills and apply that with whatever transferable skills you have to serve your businesses or your clients or the organizations you're hoping to work with. All right, so why train with us? Pretty similar to what we've heard earlier. We design our programs to suit our learners. This is very, very important to us. You will always be trained by people who have experience with these technologies, who are certified to train these technologies. We always use the up-to-date syllabuses. Like everything in tech, it changes rapidly. And so we're always keeping abreast with the technologies to ensure that you have the most current information. For instance, in the months of July and August, there were about 3 services that AWS transitioned out of. They are now in keep the lights only mode, right? Even though from a certification perspective, you're still supposed to know about them, but you don't necessarily have to have skills with them anymore, right? But there are some people who don't know about this, and the information is not typically made as public to people who are not in the know. So we always keep up to date. We also provide certification support if you choose. Well, we encourage all the learners who join the program to certify. It's actually one of the things that we are very, very particular about. And so we encourage you to certify. And because we are encouraging you to certify, we will provide you all the support, all the resources you need to get certified successfully. Thus far, everybody who has attempted a certification with MSc, to the best of my knowledge, has passed, right, Fred? Correct me if I'm wrong. So we have a very, very proven track record with that. And we are also hands-on, right? You will get access to labs, we'll give you projects to work on, there will be resources for you to read, resources for you to watch, and we'll guide your learning. It's very, very important that you acquire the skills because, again, at MSc, the goal is to equip you so that you can go to the job market and secure a job for yourself, okay? These are just screenshots of possible opportunities that exist on JobServe. There are lots and lots of opportunities that exist. If you do not believe me, you can open the website yourself right now and just type AWS. You don't even need to particularly narrow your search, just type AWS and it will pull out lots and lots of job opportunities where AWS skills are required. You need to know things like S3 or know how to use CloudFormation or know how to work with EC2 or whatever the case may be. These are all AWS technologies that employers are constantly looking for skilled workforce to work with. Okay. Again, this is another screenshot. Right, so this brings us to the end of my presentation. I'm not sure I was 5 minutes exactly, but I tried to go as quickly as possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if we have any questions, I will take
Yeah.
them now.
Paul, thank you. That was crisp. Some questions did come in whilst you were presenting. Thankfully, they were questions I was able to answer. So but please send in your questions. If you want to ask verbally, please put your hand up. Use the raise hand functionality at the bottom of your screen, and I'll permit you to speak. Or you can type it in as a Q&A using the Q&A functionality at the bottom right. So the CCP, which is one of the questions someone asked, the CCP is the sort of foundational level, and that is kicking off on the 4th of November. Someone asked when that is starting. They also asked for the fee, and I answered all of that. I told them it was 800 plus VAT. It will last for 10 weeks. But in the next few minutes, we will be announcing what the discount code you will use to enjoy some worthy discount for spending time with us today. How does study now and pay later work? It's a good question, Simo. So we have partnered with a couple of finance houses who are very happy to accept our candidates. So if Simo, if you go to them and say, "Hey, I want to train with mainstream careers," they're going to say, "Oh, cool, we're going to pay for you, and then you're going to owe that finance house." They will now spread it out for you to pay them over a period of time. Could be 4 months, could be 12 months, can even be 18 months. You see, so we've got two finance houses we're in partnership with. One of them will do it for interest free for 4 months. So for example, if your course is £1,000, argument's sake, they will allow you to pay £250 every month for 4 months, no interest on top of that. Really cool, really cool. Now the other finance provider will allow you keep the facility for much longer, up to 1.5 years. Right. Now, because of the length of time they are allowing you keep it, they will charge some interest. So it depends on what someone wants. Do you want interest free or not, or do you want a shorter term or not? So those are available and can be accessed on our website. We are also available on the phone to support you on that journey. You could call us. I know today's Saturday, but we are working today because of this program. Just call us after this. We can help you to register. All of those are subject to a little bit of credit check, but if that wouldn't work for you, still let us know. We'll find a way around it to work directly with you on that. Right, there's a question for you, Paul. Will AWS technology be the same as Azure? Also, as a BA, if you had a cloud computing knowledge and certification, how does that help your career?
So that's a good question. I currently am training, or rather, we're in the certification phase with an associate class, the intermediate class. And one of the learners in that class actually is a business analyst and is learning the skills because he works with a service team that is building out solutions using cloud technologies. They use both Azure and AWS, right? And if you were paying attention earlier, Fred kind of made the distinction between data analysis and business analysis and stressed how business analysis is about understanding the needs of a business and transmitting that information to service teams to solve the business problems, right? So the idea with cloud engineering is that once you understand how the technologies work, how we put them together, you can then sit somewhere in the middle, right? And be able to understand the technical details and also the business details and marry those two information spaces to ensure that you solve the problem as well as possible for the business, right? So it's an added tool in your toolkit. I've seen people who were business analysts, picked up cloud engineering, then probably learned Agile or Scrum, and they're now product managers, product owners, project executors, and they've gone on to do really, really amazing things. So you don't necessarily have to learn cloud engineering because you want to be technical, you want to be hands-on. It can be an additional tool in your toolkit to ensure that you're able to discharge what you're currently doing as well as possible. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. That was very crisp. Yeah, so there you go, Sam. It definitely it's a domain area. So if you're going to work as a BA in a cloud project, you need that knowledge, right? That is what will distinguish you from the other BA who doesn't have it. I would never stop talking about this. We've had medical doctors come to our trainings, not because they want to stop being medical doctors. They are medical doctors. They're still, prescribing and diagnosing people, but there is something the additional tech knowledge is doing for them. One has done the data course. He's now able to analyze large data sets and make decisions. Another one has done the Agile Scrum course because it's helping them with something. They're not stopping their medical profession, but it's adding to their skill sets too, so that they can scale further in their career. You see, and you asked about Azure. So Azure is one of
Yes.
the providers.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't answer the second part of the
Yeah.
question. So,
Mhm.
Microsoft Azure is another cloud service provider. It's
Yeah.
actually owned by Microsoft, and
Yeah.
it's considered to be the second largest in the world.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, the the skill set you acquire with AWS is transferable because they're essentially cloud service providers. There are going to be some quirks and proprietary technology that they have that is not the same across board, but generally the concept of spinning up servers, using serverless technologies, monitoring your applications, ensuring that your applications are cost effective, they're reliable, they're highly available, is the same whether you're studying for Microsoft Azure or you're studying for AWS, right? So there are some skills that are transferable, but there are also some service provider specific services and knowledge bases that you need to know. So they are not exactly the same. I think there's a second question I would like to answer from Olabode Omopariola, I think. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I have been studying for the AWS Cloud Solutions Architect, and I have had challenges with real life projects as one would face in the real world. I'm sure there will be lots of this in the program. Yes. So first and foremost, the first level to that is that there will be labs. For most of the services you will be interacting with and learning about, we will provide you with an environment where you can practice that has instructions for you to follow step by step to understand what you're doing. On top of that, we will also give you like assignments. We'll also do some demos in class. And towards the end of the program, especially at the associate level, we try to equip you with basic DevOps knowledge because it's an add-on that we think you would find very, very useful. And after that, you actually work on a project. You take some code, you modify it, you deploy it. So we have a mini capstone project in there that kind of simulates real world experience, real world projects, and we can always share resources with you. There are going to be a ton of resources we'll share with you that can equip you with knowledge of real world situations that you'll be dealing with. So yes, it's going to be pretty hands-on.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, and Olabode Chiata, all our courses, all our programs in mainstream careers are hands-on, right? Yes, some of them will lead to certifications as well, but the primary focus for us is for you to get your hands dirty and learn how to do this job that you're going for before you get it. Just what I mean. So maybe you're coming from a health background or from a legal background, and you want to become a cyber specialist or a data analyst, but you've never done it. So with us, you do it. You do an internship with us or with one of our partners, where you get your hands dirty, gain the necessary experience. Then we support you with the creation of a CV, work alongside you, and then you launch out in the market with all confidence because you've done it before. You've done it with us. It's the same thing, you see. So all our courses, whether it's cybersecurity or cloud or project management or BA, it's 100% hands-on. You get to use the tools that the large employers are using. That is what we have licenses for them. You get to use them here and boost your confidence. So are there extra costs during the course? For example, course materials? No, not at all. For the AWS course, not at all. What you pay for covers everything, including the certification fee. And as a matter of fact, you get a second voucher if you don't pass the exam first time around. That is how confident we are that you're going to pass it first time around. But if for any reason you don't pass it first time around, you get a second voucher without paying any additional. So that's for the AWS program, Simo, and it's virtual. Due to the nature of what it is, it's remote. It's online. Not when I say online, it's tutor led, but it's not physical. It's over Zoom like this, but it's tutor led. It's not you watching video or anything like that. You see. Yes, the certificate is from AWS, so it's globally recognized. They are the leaders in this thing. So it's not MS Careers certificate. It's the certification is from Amazon Web Services. You sit an exam which will prepare you for. Once you've passed it, Amazon Web Service will certify you, and it's globally recognized and globally sought after. Okay. Can we have more questions, please? Okay, good. Now, please remember to continue to fill out the poll for us. I see quite a few people have filled it out. Thank you. Continue to fill it out. How much are these courses? That's a very good question, Afolabi. We've been talking about courses, but we yet talk about the cost. Right. Now, interestingly, most of these courses range from all of these courses, I should say, range from 800 to £1,000. So specifically, the cybersecurity at the foundation level is £800, same as data analysis at the foundation level, £800, excluding UK VAT. And the cloud practitioner at the foundation level is also £800. There's a bit of consistency there. You see, so those three at the foundational level are £800. And does the course include certification? Yes, it does. For the cloud, includes certification ×2. For the data analytics and cybersecurity, those are priced separately because there are various options there. But for the cloud, it definitely does include that. And now, when you decide to go higher up to the intermediate level and the advanced level, for cyber, it's 1,000, excluding UK VAT. Data advanced is 900, excluding UK VAT. And now, I've not mentioned about business analysis and project management because we've not said anything about them. But yeah, we might very briefly do. You see, but as a thank you for joining us today, we will be offering you up to 20% discount on these courses. Some of them 20%. Did I say 20% or £20? I meant 20%, not pounds. Percent. So some of them you get up to 20% off. For some you get 10% off. The next AWS CCP starts on 4th of November. It's a Monday. So it's Monday to Friday in the evening after work hours. Starts 4th of November and you run for 8 weeks, Vincent. When are the courses taught? Right. So our courses recognize that people may be in full-time employment. So we recognize and respect that. Therefore, we refrain from having our courses until evening time. I appreciate some people work night shift, some people work in the evening. But from the demand we've been getting, it feels like people prefer evening trainings. So most of our trainings start in the evening around about 6 p.m. or in the weekends. So we've got options for weekend trainings and weekday training, but the weekday training tend to be after the 9 to 5 work hours. You see, so a bit of flexibility there. And every now and then that someone is not able to join a particular session, we get it recorded for them, or we could arrange, if it's not very often, we could arrange a catch up with one of our experienced tutors. You see, now next week Saturday, a week today, we have a business analysis training. I know some of you on the call, you've indicated interest in that, and looking at the poll results as well, 35% of you apparently are keen on business analysis. That is awesome. That is awesome. 35% of the people that have responded are keen on business analysis. Now, this is starting, we're starting one next Saturday. Today is the 5th. So next week, Saturday will be the 12th. It's going to start. And we've got very limited space on that particular one. So if you do want to go on that one, I want you to take advantage of the extra discount we're offering on that course. You get 20% off for that one. On our website, mscareers.co.uk, use the coupon code 2024 to drastically reduce your fees, and then my team and I will lead you from next Saturday. So spaces on that one are very, very limited now. So and I guess it might go even quicker with this discount that we've just announced. So take advantage of that. And a couple of weeks after that, we'll be in class again for project management. Again, it's a 20% discount going on that one with the same coupon code 2024 on our website. Okay, let's answer more questions. This is your question, Paul. What are the tools needed for this program? I believe it's talking about the cloud program. So tools.
Yeah, so in addition to the resources we'll provide you access to, The only thing you need to have in addition to that would probably be an AWS free account. That's a really great thing that AWS does. They provide you with access to some of their services for free in the first year of opening an account with them. But in addition, you might maybe need an extra, maybe £50 in that account just to practice and play around with some technologies if you so desire. But most often than not, the lab environments are more than sufficient for you to experience a large majority of the services that you'll be working with, and to even do some of the assignments that we'll be sharing with you during the course of the program. In addition, you just need access to a really good PC and a steady internet connection, I believe. At most, you would probably install some third-party tools, maybe a terminal or whatever the case may be. But these are all tools that you don't necessarily need to pay for and will guide you through the process of installing. So come as you are, so to speak, and you should be fine.
Yeah, come as you are. Thank you, Paul. Right, Chiamaka is asking, is there an option to pay in Naira if paying from Nigeria? Chiamaka, that's a nice question. That's a really nice question. I will have to say yes, because it is the currency of the country. So yes would be the answer to that. Yeah, and I'll say no more on that. So yes, Chiamaka, that is possible. Now, Raphael is asking, do you accept installment payment? Yes, we do indeed. We have two payment providers that help us with that. PayPal is one of them, and the other one is Pay Later. So it is available on our website, subject to credit checks. If you're not comfortable with the credit checks, just call us directly, and then we'll arrange. We'll see what can be done directly with yourself. Okay, on the screen right now are our contact details. The website is there, the landline is there, mobile number, the WhatsApp number, email address, and the handles for the socials. I want you to please make a note of them. You could take a screenshot of it, and please do reach out to us with any question you have at all. Any question at all, we're very always happy to help. You see, and then Olabode is asking about the CSA, that it's not on the website currently. Yes, that's a great observation. Yes, we do offer it. The team will get that on the website. The reason if you don't see it there right now is because one is going on as we speak, and it's when they do finish that the next will start. But we'll get it up there so that you can start registering in advance of when that's going to commence. Thank you for raising that, Olabode. Appreciate that. Okay, Adebayo, if one complete this program, will the institute help graduates get job, maybe in Nigeria or abroad specifically? Right. So that's our aim. That's what we do. Not necessarily to get it for you and give it to you, but to prepare you and, as they say, package you, prepare you for work, basically. So number one, the training will be given to you. Number two, we'll give you the hands-on experience, what people could call practicals, internship, right? So you get to do it before you do it. That's number two. Then number three, the team will support you when you're creating your CV. What does a good CV look like for cybersecurity? Maybe you don't know it, but the team do. So they work with you on that to get your CV right. Number four, where are you going to use that CV? The team is going to guide you on that to say, hey, this is the hot area right now. This is where to apply. This is how to apply. You see. Number five, when you start applying, you start getting interviews. What do you say? How do you go through those interviews? The team are gonna guide you. You see, the team are gonna guide you. And then finally, when one of those interviews turn to a job offer, what are you to do on the first day on the job? The team are gonna guide you. Right. So we hold your hand through the journey. We hold your hand through the journey from whatever level you are now and until you get in. You see, we'll work together with you. It's like a partnership. It's like a partnership. Raphael, how many installments? As much as you want, up to 18 months. Up to 18 installments are available. Okay, up to 18 installments. And what tools do you teach for project management and business analysis? This is an opportunity for me to talk about BA and PM. Paul never wanted me to talk about them. Why? But I'm going to talk about them now. Thank you, Cecilia. Right. No, seriously. For BA, we take you through the full project life cycle. The full project life cycle for digital projects. So starting from initiation all the way to implementation, and all the tools that a BA would need to do the work in that full project life cycle. So we get to cover your requirements documentation tools like your requirement catalog, your BRD. You learn to use tools like Microsoft Visio. Can you hear me okay, Paul? I hear my audio is poor. Is that right?
Yes, please, Fred,
Okay,
I can
thank
hear
you.
you.
Yeah,
I can
thank
hear
you.
you.
Right. So tools like Microsoft Visio, which we will install for you. You don't need to have Visio. We'll install. We'll get the license and get it on your system. Teach you how to use it. Do lots of practices. When it gets to the design phase, there are tools you learn for creating your wireframes. Most notably, we use Mockflow to get you to be able to make wireframes. You work through the test phase to support testers, or even you be the tester yourself, create the test scripts, get to implementation phase, sort out the user manual and all of that. So we take you through the full life cycle from start to finish, holding your hand through. All our tutors are practicing experts, in this thing. So hopefully that answers your question, Cecilia. When it gets to project management, they work hand in gloves with the BAs. We now get you to learn how to manage risks, identify, document, and manage risk using your risk log or your risk register. How to plan a project, so Microsoft Project, which again we will install for you. You don't need to have it. Just as Paul said, come as you are. We'll give you all the tools you need for this. Get them on your system, train you on how to use them, and guide you through, mentor you through into employment. So Cecilia, if that is satisfactory, please let me know. If you need me to add more, let me know as well. So what is the certification that comes on the data analysis? Paul, if you want to take that one, because I'm aware there are various possible qualifications, and yeah.
Yes. So for the data analyst, the one we recommend is actually at the intermediate level, or what we term the advanced level, and it's the Power BI data analyst from Microsoft. Power BI is the most pervasive dashboarding and data analysis tool that a lot of organizations are comfortable with. There are quite a few others, but Power BI seems to be the industry lead, and so we have found that that certification as an entry level, intermediate level certification is very, very well recognized in the market. But there are quite a few other ones that you might be interested in that we can support your journey with. But that's the one that we recommend, and that's the one that at the intermediate level or in the advanced program we would recommend that you take.
Great, thank you. Now, the session has been recorded and will be made available to everyone who registered for the for this session. Due to the technical glitch we had at the start, we know that some people have not been able to join, so we'll send it to everyone who registered. So Chiamaka, if you did register, it will be sent to your email at some point. I think by Monday when our comms team resume work. But if it might be sooner if right. So is there any more questions for us to tackle before we finish off? Remember to continue to answer the poll if you haven't already. Thank you to those who already have. We've got quite a few responses. Very, very useful looking responses. Please remember to continue to answer before you exit the call. Now, this question relates to cybersecurity from Chiamaka. What certificate is issued upon completing cybersecurity foundation and intermediate? Right, Chiamaka, I would say issued though, because we don't issue the certificates for cybersecurity. You will need to sit an exam with the authorities, and the moment you've passed, then they will issue it. For the foundation, there's several, like Paul says, so many, but we will be recommending CompTIA Security Plus for that one. But it wouldn't be issued. You will sit an exam, and of course our team will prepare you to ensure you pass that exam. The moment you've passed it, then you obtain that certificate, which is globally recognized. Yeah, globally recognized. Okay. Please remember to take down our contact details. For so many of you, you already have it. And then and I was going to say something about those courses that we've spoken about. So some people call me from time to time, say, hey Fred, I've been a BA for a little while, I've been a PM for a little while. What more can I do? What can I add to it to make myself stay marketable? And my counsel, my recommendation is always the same, right? I say, what is the market saying? When you look in the market, what are they saying? And everyone is saying to me, they're saying data, data, data. I say, good, that is your answer. So seek further education in an aspect of data. It may be data security, or it may be which is cybersecurity, or it may be data analysis, or it may be cloud compute, anything data. Seek education in that and make yourself to stay marketable, stay relevant. IT is fluid. It's never stagnant. It's always moving, you see, always moving. So we will continue to stay ahead of it by understanding where the market is. And I'm really glad for our team here at Mainstream Careers, because they're practicing professionals. They can see ahead, where the market is going, and then bring that information to us, so that we can help more and more candidates to be proactive and get prepared before all them changes arrive. Okay, so if there are more questions, let's take it. Abby, what about for someone who already has CompTIA Security Plus? What can such a person gain from cybersecurity training? Right, that's a good question. Paul, you may come in, but first, remember our trainings are not about certification, Abby, right? They're hands-on, that exposure to the labs, to get your hands dirty, roll your sleeves, do what you need to do so that you can prepare to go out there. So that training is not just preparing you to obtain the CompTIA Security Plus. No. That CompTIA Security Plus is by the way, you see. So it's about preparing you for employment, you see, helping you put your profile together nicely to hit the market and secure the sort of role that you do desire. Paul?
Yes, thank you, Fred. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
So yes, it's true what Fred says about it not being certification focused. In fact, none of the trainings that we've spoken about today are certification focused. The certifications are a byproduct of the training. But what you can gain outside of the knowledge, hands-on skill, and certification is also a structured environment for you to continually upskill, to keep your skills fresh, to network with your colleagues and people in the industry, and finally to upgrade your skills. So it's possible that you acquired the certification, but not necessarily understood how the technologies worked or how things worked practically hands-on in the industry, what the standards are like. It's an added advantage for you to get up to date. We do capture the flag operations, we do phishing operations, SOC operations, and so on and so forth. So you get the full gamut of what it is to be a cybersecurity analyst or information analyst, information security analyst, and you get hands-on skill, up-to-date hands-on skill. Those are the primary benefits of the program. I hope that clarifies it for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he says thanks. Right. Will you add networking courses at some point? That's a good question. That's a good question. Now, it is possible. So the team will do market research to understand how in demand it is. Now, as the name of the business suggests, Mainstream Careers, we sort of focus on career lines that are in the mainstream, you see, that are in high demand. I'll give you an example. Right now, there's some research going on by my team around artificial intelligence because the market is saying, oh, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on. We're looking for professionals, so they're really researching into that. And then if it comes out positive, then some work will be done to prepare for that. So networking, it's one to note, and some research will be done on that. Thank you, Siwa. Really appreciate your thoughts. Okay, any more questions? Okay, we are definitely coming to the end of it, and we have some responses on our post-session poll. So can I please ask that everyone who's not responded to please go ahead and respond now, as we've been through all the presentations. I do apologize that we did not get deep into project management and business analysis or Agile Scrum, but I can assure you, the team and I are very happy to take questions on that. If you just give us a call after this session, or at any point from Monday as well, very happy to support. And next Saturday we will start a new set for business analyst. So if you're thinking you want to start something that is 100% business linked and not technical at all, maybe that's what you want to consider. Or if you're thinking project management, that's available for you as well in a couple of weeks time. So just get yourself registered, and remember to use the coupon code 2024 on our website to enjoy discount on all the courses we spoke about today. As a matter of fact, on all our courses, so up to 20% discount on all our courses using that discount code. And that's our way of saying thank you for joining us today. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions. Oh, there's one from Judge. What is your advice for someone with a legal background but wishes to switch to cybersecurity? That's a good question, George. That is a really good question. Now, I think you've done you've taken the first step by knowing that you want to go to cybersecurity. That tends to be the most difficult part for a lot of people. Like, oh, what do I do? Do I do cyber? Do I do data? Do I do cloud? Do I do PM? What do I really do? I think you've taken the first step, right, by figuring out that it's cybersecurity. Now, the advice would be for you to begin to seek education in that line. Begin to seek to gather the skills required for you to get into cybersecurity. I'd say start with the cybersecurity foundation program, because it starts with the basis and then you can build it up from there. You see, now that program will run for 10 weeks. See, it's not even stretched at all. It's well spaced out for 10 weeks so that you could easily assimilate what is being introduced to you, easily do the lab work and understand what you're doing and be able to replicate it for your employers in the future. So I'd say my advice would be start at that level, foundation level, and then build it from there. You see, so your legal background is good. It's definitely good. It's not going to go to waste, no, because there are things you've been exposed to in that field that will be reused. There are skills that will be reused. Right? As a cyber specialist, you still be exposed to people. You still have to facilitate sessions to understand what's going on and understand the solution that needs to be put in and that sort of thing. So as a start at that foundation level and then build it up from there. Namdasi says, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. You're welcome, sir. And Cecilia says, is your project management just in IT or does it include other sectors like construction? That's a good question. So project management is a little bit generic, right? It's all encompassing. However, the case studies we use in class are digital case studies, so IT related. You see, so and then the live project that you get to work on eventually will be a digital project, not construction. But like I said, there are reusables from there. Some people have finished our PM training and they're working in non-IT related PM roles, construction, transportation, and that sort of thing. You see, so it gives you that project management mindset, not necessarily limiting you to tech, but yeah. All right, hopefully that answers that. Okay, so remember, if you've not answered our poll, please do answer it, as we're going to end the poll in a minute. But can I start by saying a big thank you to all of you for, first of all, registering your interest on this program, and then secondly, taking the effort to join, and then thirdly, staying on with us till now. We're really grateful, immensely grateful. Thank you so much for doing that. We don't take it for granted at all. And then I want to appreciate all my team members that were on today, all the experts to share their thoughts on on their areas of specialty. Gordon was here, Rachel was here from the cybersecurity world. Thank you so much. And now Daryl was here to share his thoughts and so share his testimony for having been through our program and still going through another one. Really appreciate your time, Daryl, and very, very especially Paul. Thank you so much for the insights you shared in data and cloud computing. Okay, the phone lines are open now and shall remain open for a very long time. So just give us a shout or drop a message on WhatsApp or send an email or slide into our DM, whichever you prefer to do. That works for us. All right. Paul, any final words? Can't hear you. Technology. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said people should slide into your DMs. Usually when people slide into your DMs, they come to ask you if you are a single man. Yeah, a single unmarried man.
That I did not know.
But yeah, thank you for having us. I would really, really be pleased to see you guys in class very, very soon. We're looking forward to having you. I can assure you that if you decide to join any of our programs, you will not regret it. You will get the maximum benefit of the training program. So thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, see you in class soon.
Thank you, Paul. All right, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye. God bless you.
Bye.